Hey everybody, Happy New Year. Tom Cibulis with True North Group. And today's Facebook Live, sponsored by the Virginia Small Business Development Center. So, today, first back of the year, and we got some great stuff going on. And I know a lot of people are motivated for the new year. And there's a couple things I wanted to kind of cover for you this year. I really didn't want to go into anything too technical. I kind of wanted to see if we could kind of position ourselves in a different manner than we have in the past. And one thing that I've learned over all my time working with cybersecurity, and this is a lot of times, it's regardless of the size of the organization, is that, protecting your digital information, dealing with your regulators, your auditors, it's always a second thought. All right. When we make our plans for the beginning of the year for our businesses, a lot of them are financial, cost, hiring employees, expanding, really kind of growing our businesses, but very few take into the cybersecurity or the aspect of it, of the importance of protecting that information that we use every single day. So I kind of wanted to cover a couple things that I'm not sure if everybody's aware of, but when there's all of these statistics, we gather statistics all the time in this industry for small industries, for enterprises, because we have all these numbers and we try to figure out what's next. So, for 2021, some of the statistics that I thought would be important for all of us to address is that 43% of our small and medium businesses have no plan when it comes to cybersecurity or disaster recovery or business continuity. So almost half of all of our businesses in the United States, this isn't just in Virginia, only 1 in 5 use some type of endpoint security. And that endpoint security would be addressing malware, so ransomware and viruses and things like that. Only 1 in 5 actually have something installed. Now, a lot of you probably got a trial account when you bought your laptops, if you bought them from Best Buy or if you bought them from Dell or whatever, and it ran out and you didn't renew it because you might have forgot, or maybe you didn't feel the value was there. But it is one of the major defenses that you can use. Another one is that, and this is where I have a lot of conversations with businesses. They don't think they're targets, but 63% of small businesses experienced a data breach in the last 12 months. That's a really large number. Right? Now, when you say a data breach or a cyber incident, there's a big difference, right? Because a data breach means that information was taken. An incident means that you might have gone down for a little while because you had a virus attack or something brought your systems down. That's a cyber incident. But when you say breach, that means some piece of information, whether it's one record or thousands of records, was actually stolen by somebody else or somebody unauthorized to access that information. And tied into that, 57% of those are external. So it's not the insider threats that is predominantly the issue, it's the external. Because we have small groups, a lot of our small companies, we know our people and we have a little bit more control. So we still have a really large threat, but the external hackers know that our small businesses don't have the same level of defenses as some of our larger enterprises that are out there. And last, which I think applies to a lot of us, is that 22% of small businesses move to some type of remote work environment without changing anything. So they had no plan, they didn't look at it, they didn't change the way they do business because of the fact that, because a remote environment is far different than having everyone come into the office and have all those systems protected in the manner that we used to do that. So those are some of the things, but it's not all doom and gloom because, one thing I wanted to share with you was they're about setting goals. And, everyone's doing resolutions and there's goals, and big difference is, if you don't write down a goal, it's a wish. Okay. And that's really how so there are people who are saying resolutions, I'm going to lose weight. All right. If you don't write it down, you don't have a plan, you're not going to complete it. So we've all done it. We've all seen that. So, But in 1979, the Harvard Business Review did a survey. So they took the graduating class of Harvard in 1979 and asked about goals. 84% of those individuals had no goals or had not written down any goals after graduation. 13% of them had written down some goals, but didn't really have a plan. And then 3% of those graduating class had not only written down goals, but had a plan on how to achieve those goals. Now, 10 years later, they come back to the same graduating class and they found out some really interesting stuff. The first thing was that the 13%, all right, that had written down a goal but no plan were actually making twice as much as the 84% who didn't. But the real piece of information, the real thing here is the 3% that did have the goals and that also had plans on how to accomplish those goals were making 10 times the amount of the other 97% in the class. Now, I don't want to talk to you about money, but I do want to talk to you about goals. And if you think about that, wouldn't you want to be that 3%? That means that you are 97% less apt to experience some type of data breach because you have been more proactive as opposed to reactive. And that's really the major difference between an organization that has a cyber incident or a breach or who doesn't, because the criminals are going to go for what we call the low-hanging fruit. They're going to go for the ones that take the least amount of effort. They don't care where the $10,000 comes from. All they care about is getting the 10,000. So they're not targeting you. They're looking for a flaw in your environment that they will then target and exploit. Now, if that threat or vulnerability is not there, they're just going to move on to someone else because they know someone else in the United States, around the world, is going to have that vulnerability and they'll be able to get that $10,000. So what I want to close out with today is let's sit down, let's review what you have, let's come up with a plan. All right. Some of you may have great tools in place without any policies. Some of you might have policies without the tools. Some of you may have neither. It really doesn't matter because the SBDC provides me and other advisors like me to all of you at no cost. We will sit down with you. We will understand what your environment is. We'll make some recommendations. We've been doing that for the last 15, 16 months now, but we can do it specifically for you. And you'd be surprised that there are a lot of things that you can do at no cost. So it's not like we're going to sit there and say, well, you need to go spend $10,000 or $5,000. No, we're probably going to say, were you aware that you already have this piece of security built already available to you because it's part of your operating system or it's part of some other tool that you already purchased. You're only going to know that if you sit or if you do the research yourself, which is going to take away from your ability to grow your business how you want to grow it, or you can sit down with one of us and we can spend 30 minutes, get an understanding of what you do, how you do it, and probably identify 3 to 5 things that you could do fairly easily and probably at no cost that would change you from the more susceptible organizations to a better protected organization, which then allows you guys to build your businesses with a little more comfort, knowing that you've done all the things that you could possibly do and you've actually made yourself less desirable. So it's just something to think about. We're going to be doing a lot of some more workshops throughout the month of January and February, where we'll actually walk you through that. If there's any particular topic that you'd like us to talk about during our Facebook Lives, please put it in the comments section. If you want to set up a meeting with me, it's in the show notes or in the comment section is the email address. We can set up one, 30 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever works for your schedule, and we can, like you said, be more proactive, make cybersecurity part of your plans for 2022 so that you guys can take that data that you use and build your businesses and have really a successful 2022. And that's what I hope for all of us and all of you. So again, Happy New Year. I hope you had a great holiday season, and we look forward to seeing you next week with our next Facebook Live. Thanks, everybody.